Hello and good evening to the parents and families of the Long Beach Unified School District community. And welcome to tonight's Parent University workshop entitled Families Supporting LGBTQ+ Youth. My name is Brandon Messina, and I'm a district level administrator with the Division of Special Education and in the Office of Student Support Services, where I am tasked to lead the LGBTQ+ student initiatives for our district. I am excited for the opportunity to share tonight's information and to create a shared space for learning. During this session, you will learn strategies for best supporting LGBTQ+ youth. After the video, we will have a brief question and answer session. And lastly, we will review many of the resources and supports offered in LBUSD. I encourage you to listen from the heart and take note for any questions that you may have. So without further ado, please enjoy this presentation of supporting LGBTQ+ youth within the Long Beach Unified School District. Hello and good evening. My name is Mr. Brandon Messina. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am thankful to serve as the LGBTQ+ Student Support Service Lead for Long Beach Unified School District. And I'm also a special education administrator within the Division of Special Education. Special thanks to our professional and community partners whom we work with to develop best practices in support of our LGBTQ+ students and families. We would like to thank the Gay and Lesbian Center of Long Beach, Parent University, and the City of Long Beach for their wealth of resources. We'd also like to give a thanks to the Office of School and Student Support Services. And most importantly, we'd like to give thanks to you, the families, the supporters of our students. Today's learning objectives is to provide parents and families with an understanding of terms such as sexual orientation and gender identity in the school context and give insight for positively supporting LGBTQ+ students. Given the sensitivity of the content, I would like to invite us to share in some community agreements. I invite you to listen from the heart, listen with respect, speak with respect, honor confidentiality, and think inclusively. Parents, we must acknowledge that we all have a shared responsibility to our youth who identify as LGBTQ+, because research has shown that they are at increased risk for mental health problems, bullying, and suicidal thoughts. Adults must be mindful of listening. Let's begin with step 1, and that's learning and affirming language. A general understanding of the most common definitions associated with sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression are known as SOGI, and they are important in order to effectively provide a safe and supportive learning environment for all students. Everyone has a sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Each person's journey of self-awareness and expression is unique and individualized according to their culture, environment, and lived experiences. This is not an exhaustive list of identities. Please note that there are many other identities. SOGI may be broken down into 3 classifications: sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. This is known as the SOGI glossary. I will review some terms with you. Sexual orientation, which describes how a person is sexually and romantically attracted to others. Gender identity, that's one's innermost concept of self as male, female, a blend of both, or neither. Identities typically fall into binary, non-binary, or ungendered. One's gender identity can be the same or different from their sex assigned at birth. Gender expression, a person's outward gender presentation, usually comprised of personal style, clothing, hairstyle, makeup, jewelry, body language, etc. Masculine gender expression may look like androgynous gender. It may look like feminine gender. Expression may look like the combination of masculine and feminine characteristics or wearing unisex clothing. Now we'll review the LGBTQ plus glossary. We will start with the term lesbian, which is a woman or women who are attracted to other women. Bisexual, people who are attracted to people of two genders. Gay, people who are attracted to people of the same gender. Transgender, someone's gender identity that does not match the sex assigned at birth. Next term, queer, an umbrella term used to describe a sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression that does not conform to dominant societal norms. Historically, this term was a derogatory slur, but is often used as a positive term by the LGBTQ plus community. Here are some other newer terms that you should know. Pansexual, which refers to a person who is emotionally and or physically attracted to people, regardless of their sexual identity and or gender expression. Intersex refers to people who are born with a variety of differences in their sexual traits and reproductive anatomy. There is a wide variety of variations that include genitalia, chromosomes, internal sex organs, hormone production, hormone response, and or secondary sex traits. Next term I would like to introduce is Two-Spirit, which describes native and indigenous peoples to indicate they are both a masculine and feminine spirit. Our leading author on this research is Eli Green. Our next term, cisgender, which is a term for someone who exclusively identifies as their sex assigned at birth. Now talk a little bit more about cisgender. Let's look at that prefix, CIS, which means on the same side of. Someone's gender identity matches the sex assigned at birth. Now, using this person here, from what we know, Jason Momoa identifies as a cisgendered man. Next term, transgender. When we look at the prefix TRANS, that means across, which refers to someone's gender identity that does not match the sex assigned at birth. An example would be actor Elliot Page, who identifies now as a trans man. Parents, did you know that only 24% of LGBTQ plus youth can identify themselves as LGBTQ plus persons at home? Only 25% of LGBTQ plus youth have families who show support for them by getting involved in the larger LGBTQ plus and ally community. 48% of LGBTQ plus youth out to their parents and say their families make them feel bad for being LGBTQ plus. 67% of LGBTQ plus youth hear their families make negative comments about LGBTQ plus people. And 78% of youth not out to their parents as LGBTQ plus hear their families make negative comments about LGBTQ plus people. Trans youth are 2 times more likely to be taunted or mocked by family for their LGBTQ plus identity than cisgender LGBTQ plus youth. Now I want to share some voices of our students. Quote, being in the closet as a trans non-binary, I'm always scared of my parents finding out or others not accepting me or maybe even not using my preferred pronouns. Another student has reported, I'm not out to my parents for safety reasons. If they found out I was gay, they would kick me out or force me into conversion therapy. Another student has reported, if my parents found out I'm gay, they would disown me and kick me out. Because of the way many LGBTQ plus people are treated, many of us suffer from a range of mental illnesses, myself included, the student has reported. You know, relationships matter. Studies show that queer adolescent relationships with their families are often highly charged or conflicted, particularly around the time of disclosure of sexual identity or coming out, or when parents learn that their children are LGBTQ+. Parents and families play an essential role in promoting adolescent health and well-being. Studies have shown the positive outcomes for LGBTQ plus youth whose families are supportive and accepting, including greater self-esteem and resilience, and a lower risk of negative health outcomes such as depression, distress, hopelessness, and substance use. While coming out to their parents and close family members is an important and self-affirming developmental milestone, it's often scary. Many LGBTQ plus youth report coming out or being outed or being found out by their families as extremely stressful. You know, the impact of family attitudes and behaviors make a huge difference. Families' acceptance and rejection are different constructs. Accepting and rejecting behaviors can co-occur as families adjust to learning about their child's LGBTQ plus identity. You know, research has shown that family rejecting behaviors during adolescence can lead to illegal drugs, depression, attempted suicide, and sexual health risks by LGBTQ plus youth adults. Rejecting behaviors such as hitting, slapping, or physically hurting a child because of their LGBTQ plus identity. Verbal harassment or name calling your child because of their LGBTQ plus identity. Excluding LGBTQ plus youth from family events or activities. Also, blocking access to LGBTQ plus friends, events, resources. Blaming the child for being discriminated against because of the LGBTQ plus identity. Or pressuring the child to be more or less masculine or feminine. Telling the child that God will punish you for being queer, that they bring shame to the family. Making the child their LGBTQ plus identity a secret. You know, there's a huge impact on family acceptance. Studies have shown that it increases level of self-esteem, social support, and general health for students. They're less likely to be afflicted with depression, substance abuse, and suicidal ideations and attempts. You know, accepting behaviors include simply talking to your child about LGBTQ plus identity, expression, affection, acceptance when the child comes out as LGBTQ plus. Supporting the child's LGBTQ plus identity despite feelings of discomfort. You can also advocate for your child when they are mistreated because of their LGBTQ plus identity. Also, accepting behaviors include requiring that other family members respect your LGBTQ plus child. It also includes bringing the child to LGBTQ plus organizations or events, or connecting the child with LGBTQ plus adult role models to show options for the future. You know, parents and families, some common questions and concerns are always, I feel like I'm the only one. I don't know any other families with LGBTQ plus people in them. Please know that there are other families who initially have felt isolated, but who have made new connections and friends as they support their LGBTQ plus child or loved one. If you are unable to meet face-to-face with other families in a similar situation, there are plenty of online resources, forums, and chat groups that you can join. Another way to show support is by joining support groups, utilizing resources such as parents, families, and friends of lesbian and gay students. You can also join organizations such as PFLAG or the Human Rights Campaign. One important resource is to visit the OSS District webpage or the Office of Student Support Services for information about resources and supports for families. Families, remember to always be mindful of confidentiality of your child when asking for support. Another question that families also ponder is, did I do something wrong? We don't understand what determines sexuality or gender identity. What we do know is that sexual orientation and gender identity are raised in all types of families, societies, and cultures. There is no evidence that anything parents do influence their child's sexuality or gender identity. Try to remember that there is nothing wrong or abnormal about being same-sex attracted or gender diverse. There is no one to blame, and it's no one's fault when it comes to human sexuality and gender. Diversity is a natural part of life. All people and students are born with many gifts and talents. It's important that we look at language, culture, sexual orientation, and gender identity as an asset that students are bringing with them and should be developed and nurtured to support them to thrive. Another question that many families think about: I'm struggling to come to terms with my child's sexuality. Does that make me a bad parent? Remember that your child or loved one is the same person they were before they told you, and they need to know that. While it may take time for your emotions to settle, it's important that you remain close and supportive so your child or loved one is reassured that your love for them has not changed. Keep reinforcing that you love and support them. It's important for them to hear. Try to remain as open and supportive as possible. Research has shown that the more supportive parents are of LGBTQ plus children, the happier and healthier they will develop. These are some ways that you as families can show support. You can honor their identities and pronouns. Even if you don't understand, don't dismiss them as not real. Find other parents who you can talk to. 2 resources are the PFLAG, which is Parents and Families of Lesbian and Gays. Keep researching to get your questions answered. Don't place the burden on your child to teach you. Please remember that identities can shift over time. Don't force them to choose a box. Another way to show support is to support their events, their organizations, friends, and interests. Get excited with them. Some more ways that you can show support is to check in about their friends, teachers, school staff, and advisors. They may not bring up bullying, harassment, or issues without being prompted. Remember to check in. Check in with their mental health. Normalize having conversations about seeking therapy or types of support for anxiety, depression, and self-harm. Remember to have those difficult conversations with other family members. Be an ally to your kid with the name and pronouns. Families, did you also know that LBUSD has an 18-page comprehensive manual to support our LGBTQ plus students, which addresses policy, laws, mandates, and guidance? I've had the honor and pleasure of spending last year updating the language policy and practice that align with more restorative and equitable ways of being to ensure that all students feel safe, seen, heard, and valued throughout our district. On this slide, you will see a wealth of youth and family-related LGBTQ plus resources that you can click links and have access to. Families, there's one last thing I want to leave with you. George Orwell said, "Happiness can only exist with acceptance, so we must accept our students and love them. Remember to humble yourself and apologize where necessary. Learn from your mistakes and always try to broaden your understanding of LGBTQ plus issues so that you can best support all of your students." I thank you so much for your time. Welcome back. I hope that presentation was insightful and thought-provoking. At this time, we will take approximately 20 minutes for a question and answer period. Please feel free to drop any questions that you may have in the chat, and we will work together to answer them to the best of our ability. Please also know that this video is also being recorded and will be posted on the Parent University webpage, and so you may access this video at any time if you do have any further questions, and you can also reach out to me directly. If there are any questions out there? We have really worked tirelessly over the last 2 years to really refine and reform our systems. Yes, there are many on-campus resources, such as your school counselor who has gone through very robust training, as well as teachers that students, if they need support, can go to their school counselor or their site administrator for both support if they're having or needing support in any areas such as safety, pronouns, establishing community, and they can support them as well there. Or they could reach out to Student Support Services directly, where my information can easily be accessed, and I definitely can come out to the school sites and support both principals, students, and support staff. Teachers can show support by affirming a student's pronouns and their gender identity. One of the best ways they can do this is at the beginning of the school year, when they're learning the names and personalities of their students. They can also include information as to what type of pronoun would you like to be called, or what is your preferred name. Also, teachers can show support by being allies for the students. For example, they can go through ally training and participate in that training and actually be a certified ally for students, where students can go to them for help and support and safety concerns if need be. So if there are no questions at this time, I would really love to take the opportunity to navigate you through our LBUSD Student Support Services webpage, and where you can find specific resources as well as who to contact when you are having concerns or when you want more information. So in order to access our Student Support Services website, you would log on to the lbschools.net homepage. And from there, you can click on our LBUSD A to Z index and go to the letter S for Student Support Services and click there. And on the right-hand side, you want to scroll down to where it reads the link Student Support Services. We will click on that link. And this is the home page for our Student Support Services. And in this page, it provides you with all the information for the type of resources that we offer in this office. And as you can see, we offer support with attendance, Bethune homeless education, bullying and harassment prevention, family resource centers, crisis coordination, mental health resources, school-based mental health, foster youth, our LGBTQ+ student resources, our multi-tiered systems of support, our school psychology services, school supportive services, school attendance review board, suicide prevention, transformative social emotional learning, our wellness centers, and lastly, our 504 plans. For the sake of this presentation, we will navigate through the LGBTQ+ resource page. But before doing that, I would like to draw your attention to some important contacts on this page. So our Office of Student Support Services is led by Dr. Claudia Sosa Valderrama. Her number is listed there, and her position and responsibilities include being the director of this department, Student Support Services as a whole, navigating and being the foster youth liaison, homeless youth liaison, and the custodian of records for our district. Moreover, you can also find more information with our administrative staff that will help support you. That's Rose Salazar, who is our administrative secretary, Claudia Flores, our staff secretary, Dr. LaShandra Prelu, who is an administrator within the office, supporting with safe and supportive schools, Jenny Acosta, who is our early intervention and school psychology coordinator, Dr. Jenny Yates, our lead psychologist, Dr. Karen Freihoff, also a lead psychologist, Darcy Capolo, an administrative assistant, and Susana Cortez, our assistant director and also lead over school social workers. Now, moving back up, I would like to click on the link on the left-hand side, which reads LGBTQ+ Student and resources. So as you can see here, we start off with our mission statement and what we as a school district are responsible and are obligated to do. Long Beach Unified School District Student Support Services provides schools resources needed to support LGBTQ+ students. We are legally mandated by the state of California to support and have policies which uplift student voice and also foster communities of safety, inclusivity, and wellness for our students and within this community. For more information on how specifically we support our LGBTQ+ students, you can click the link below. And it is our responsibility within Long Beach Unified School District to treat students equally, to prevent and respond to reports of bullying, harassment, and discrimination, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. It's a California state mandate. We are also responsible to respect students' dress and behavior that does not conform to stereotypes associated with their gender, with respect to the student's dress code. We are also responsible to provide LGBTQ+ inclusive social studies, histories, and comprehensive sexual health education. We are also responsible to provide activities and access, such as locker rooms and restrooms, that assert to the student's gender identity. We're responsible to implement and to provide access for our gender-neutral restrooms, dress code policy, and classroom practices. We're also responsible to provide students the opportunity to speak out about LGBTQ+ issues and concerns, wearing LGBTQ+ affirming t-shirts, stickers, bracelets, and access to information about LGBTQ+ on school computers, and to bring same-sex gender dates to prom. We're also responsible to support the formation of gender and sexuality alliances across our middle school and our high school campuses to support our students within the community. We are also responsible to respect students' individual choice to be out and themselves at school without harm or discrimination being a factor. And lastly, we are responsible to recognize the student's consent to sensitive LGBTQ+ or sexual health-related services. In other words, confidentiality and safety is our top priority for our student population. If you continue to scroll down, you can see further resources on this webpage. And this is our LGBTQ+ Students and Resources Administration. So once again, this work is led by our director, Dr. Claudia Sosa Valderrama, in the Office of Student Support Services, located at Tucker Administrative Offices. And there is me, Brandon Messina, the administrative assistant and the student initiative lead for our LGBTQ+ students. I am located at the board building. Scrolling further down on our website, we have also included many resources for students. And if you see here, positive environments are important to help youth thrive. So we have many resources for our students to join and access if they need information or want to be a part of the greater community. So for example, we have information about GLSEN, which is our Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, which is a nationally recognized network which helps school districts foster safe and equitable communities for our LGBTQ+ students. We also have our Gender and Sexuality Alliance networks. We have the healthychildren.org initiative, It Gets Better Project, the Q Card Project, the Q Chat Space, Stomp Out Bullying, Making Schools a Safe Place for our LGBTQ+ students, and the Trevor Project. And we really encourage our students in this community to uplift their voice and uplift their agency and be a part of the community and advocate for the safety and the inclusivity of our students within this community. Some other programs that we also have within our district and for our community, in greater community, are the Human Rights Campaign, where you can go for information regarding human rights and more rights of the LGBTQ+ community and really the historical struggle that this community has suffered. GLSEN, GLAD, which is a parent organization that supports students in the community. Also, the Long Beach Gay and Lesbian Center is a huge support with supporting our students and also helping to foster and create safe space and gay-straight alliances on each of our middle school and high school campuses within Long Beach Unified School District. Each of our high schools and middle schools also have wellness centers dedicated to creating safe spaces and providing resources for our students. We have our family resource centers, which requires referrals and can provide supports to both families, parents, and students. And we also have our Voices of LBUSD. Moving down further, we have other resources entitled our Transgender Gender Nonconforming Student Poster Guide, which essentially is our transgender gender nonconforming policy that we've created into an infographic and have been deployed to our school sites for our students to have access to for information regarding their rights and roles in the community. I will click on one of the links right now to show you. And so as you can see, it gives you the historical context and the legal context that the Long Beach Unified School District, LBUSD, is committed to creating and maintaining a safe learning environment for all students. As part of the Student Success and Opportunity Act, also known as Assembly Bill 1266, LBUSD is focused to ensuring that every student has equal access to the district's educational programs and activities, along with other policies. It also is an exception for LBUSD students and personally promotes the culture of belonging, civility, and acceptance around our district. Also, you can click this link to find and read fully our LBUSD Gender and Gender Nonconforming Policy. It's an 18-page document that has been completely revised to ensure the laws and policies are updated from the state of California and our district. If you would like further information regarding how to request a legal or name change or a gender name change, how to request unofficial name changes and transcripts, also AKAs or also known as, you may find further information there. And this page also gives you what the responsibility of the staff is. Our staff is mandated and asked to really uphold the institutional and core values of our Long Beach School District. So it's to inform students of their rights and to access facilities such as restrooms and locker rooms, and to join activities as they determine in their gender support plan. Our staff responsibility is also to remind students of the bullying policy and be given specific resources and ways to report bullying. I will go to the next image now. And on this infographic, we give more information about the California law requires that school provides all students with a safe, supportive, and inclusive learning environment, free from discrimination, harassment, and bullying. So we have further information regarding restroom accessibility, the use of pronouns, dress code and school uniform policies, course accessibility and instruction, locker room accessibility, school activities and programs, and further information regarding sports, athletics, and PE participation. I highly encourage you to please navigate through these infographics and learn as much information as you possibly can to equip yourself with the knowledge to ensure that your student is remaining safe, happy, and secure at their learning environment and their site. Moving further down, these are also other infographics around pronouns. Many of our students have used preferred pronouns on our sites, and we would like to support them in any way that we can. So these three visuals have been made regarding the use of pronouns, the use of gender and gender nonconforming pronouns, what they are, how we use them, and why they are important. Also, how do you ask for a person's pronoun? What's the most appropriate way to elicit that information from someone? And how do you use it respectfully? You can learn more information there. And it provides tips and resources for you. And lastly, what to do if you mess up someone's pronoun. Always remember, we're all learning and we all want to be respectful and kind, but there are those times and instances where we can make a mistake. But it's just important that we learn from our mistake, we apologize, we correct ourselves, we commit to doing better, and we keep growing. So again, I encourage you to please take the time and navigate and really learn and dig deep with this information. And if possible, sit with your child and let them know what is available to them on this district website. Moving back up on the web page, we have information regarding our policies and forms. So within the Long Beach Unified School District, if a student is transgender or gender nonconforming, we have a policy which supports their well-being at school and provides supports and rights for them. This is a document, again, that has been recently updated, and you can take the opportunity to read through this. And please know, if you ever have any questions or concerns or need more clarification, you can reach out to the Student Support Services, Dr. Sosa, Valderrama, or myself. We also have a document entitled The Unofficial Name Change for Our Families. So if a student wants a name change and it is not granted by a court, it's possible that they can have it unofficially changed at school. And this policy and document helps to navigate that process. Next, we have our unofficial name request form and how to request the information. Please note that students do not need a parent's permission to have an unofficial name change form. And we, as a school district and as school sites, must help to keep them safe and support them through this process. If you would like to know more information, please read further about the unofficial records and name change form, the student request. And lastly, we have an unofficial name change form, parent request. If you have discussed with your child that a name change would be appropriate and you would like their name to be changed on district documents and school site documents, it's completely possible. Please read through this document for guidance on what next steps to take and who to contact and the process to follow. And once again, we have many external resources. For example, our History of Pride Month, our Schools in Transition, which is a guide for supporting transgender students at school, which all of our education, teacher, and support staff have access to. And one very important thing to always remember, both as students, both as parents, both as families, is always, if you see something, say something. You can click and contact Student Support Services if you are having concerns around bullying, harassment, or if you need to file a uniform complaint. So at this time, we would invite you to please take a moment and navigate through all of the resources provided. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to the Office of Student Support Services. At this time, we thank you for your time and consideration as we discuss such meaningful content. Your empathy and sensitivity are much valued and appreciated. If you have any further questions or would like to discuss specific concerns regarding your child or your family or any concerns that you may have experienced at your school site, please feel free to email me at bmessina@lbschools.net. Thank you and have a safe and wonderful evening.